she wears the crown. Climbing high in this digital sky, Middletown's besties battle cry. Middletown's besties battle cry. The legend of Supa Dave shall never die. The legend of Supa Dave shall never die. Light is out for Supa Dave, he's our guy. He's our guy. Because Middletown's besties battle cry.
Good morning, world. Can you see me? Can you hear me? It is Wednesday, February 4th, the year of our Lord, 2026. For those of you who don't know who I am the host of this channel, if that's what you want to call it. And my name is Supa Dave. And it's very early in the morning. Very, very early. 6 a.m. 6:09 to be precise here. Central Standard Time, of course. And I am glad that people like John Cook, Christy Nunya, Mo Magic, Rin, all of you guys are up early with me. Isn't it awesome being an early bird? I'm shot out of a cannon this morning, guys, and I'm playing with my balls. Yeah, you guys heard that right. Supa Dave's playing with his balls. You know, I got these stress relief balls, and I figured it would make for a good joke. You know, everybody else is cracking jokes these days. So why can't I talk about my balls? So they're rock hard. You know, they make a good noise. Very very fun to play with. So if anybody asks, I'm playing with my balls. Sorry, guys. It's one of them mornings. I'm in a really, really yes, Rin. It's this early. I took a lot of inspiration. You know, we see people talking about, you know, like pickles and whatnot, and mushrooms and all this crazy shenanigans. And I was like, you know, I got balls sitting on my desk. You never hear me talk about playing with my balls. I mean, that's just been an open joke. That's just been there for the taking for so long now. And I have yet to crack the I'm playing with my balls joke. But, you know, they really do help for stress. I'm serious. I don't know. You guys ever? I think the real name of them is called like Benoit balls. I think that's like the proper name of them. But I find myself like whenever I'm just working on something like a graphic or I'm waiting on video to render, I always reach for my balls and I just start playing with my balls. Dickles, Dave, Dickles. True, Mo. And I believe we have you to thank for the Dickles. Speaking of that, I just have to shout out some channels. Let's just talk about the growth that Legally Leslie has been going through. I don't know if anybody has been watching the growth on her channel as of late, but it's pretty impressive. I mean, her channel has went from like this vacant territory, I should call it, to something that is very, very impressive. I personally could not get over. She's at like 800 some odd subscribers at this point. And everybody talks about how her channel is nothing and it's pointless and all this stuff. And I'm like, she's growing. Her channel is growing by leaps and bounds. And her content is it's awesome. I mean, she's doing so much different things for content. Now, does that stop the haters? Absolutely not. But I mean, she's doing cooking programs, she's doing makeup tutorials, she's doing skincare routines, she's doing sketches, she's doing dance routines. I mean, she is throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at her content. And to be honest, I'm a fan. You know, I've always been a fan of Leslie. I'm not gonna lie about that. But her content lately, I mean, just it's winning me over. It's winning me over. And the fact that she's not monetized, not accepting comments on anything on her channel, Oh, I see 2 Lisa's here. Hey, Lisa. Also, I was gonna talk about your stream. I was listening to it this morning, as much of it as I could, and I just wanna touch on a few things. And, I've been advised by several people to stay out of all this drama, and I'm going to stay out of it as much as I can. But one thing I have to say is I agree with Lisa on one point, and I'm gonna get to that in due time. But if for those of you who don't know, Legally's Leslie's channel started out as like some WTF 67930 elemental I mean, I couldn't find this channel for the life of me. I asked like 12 different people, like, can I please have Leslie's new channel? Like, I finally got a hold of it. I subscribed, and I'm impressed with the growth. She's almost at the point now where she's got enough subscribers to be monetized. I think her watch hours, if she keeps doing her live streams the way she's been doing her live streams, she's gonna get her watch hours in a matter of no time whatsoever. And everybody's hating on her, and I'm like, she's having fun, and that's what content creation should be, right? It should be fun. And I said I was gonna speak briefly on the Leslie situation or on the Lisa's last stream. And Lisa was talking about that umbrella guy. And she said that umbrella guy was very mad and very sad and almost played a victim because he was face doxxed. He was face doxxed. Guys, that umbrella guy whose picture has been in the public has been face doxxed. Clutching my pearls. And not only that, somebody that his ex, who's a recovering addict and alcoholic or one of the other, she had been contacted or something by Leslie. This is all supposedly done by Leslie, Legally Leslie. And now I went to Legally Leslie's second channel because she's not only growing one channel, now she's growing two. And on her second channel, she did indeed face dox Tug, Mr. Tugglesworth, as I like to call him. Face doxed him out in the open. Not only did Leslie face dox the guy, she made him into a drag queen and had him and the other YouTuber kiss. Would I do it? Absolutely not. Did Leslie do it? With a smile on her face. Yeah, she did. She did it with a smile on her face. And my comments on this is apparently Mr. Tugglesworth got his knickers in a knot. And he said, "How dare these people? How dare you, Leslie? How dare you take a picture that has been put in the public for all to see from a realtor or whatever, however it got there? How dare you make content out of it?" All I got to say is I have been bashed by these people for the company I choose to keep, supposedly. Bashed up and down. I've never doxed anybody. But because I laughed at Richard Luthman, I'm just as guilty as Richard Luthman for doxing. Let me remind you guys of something. My brother, he's a recovering addict. My brother is recovering in so many facets that people don't understand. Did that stop these people from doxing my brother, displaying my brother's picture when he's not a public figure? Did that stop them from digging into my brother's life? Did that stop the weirdos from driving in front of my brother's house and taking pictures? Just a few weeks ago, I got a report from my brother that a rather, as he said, rotund lady came to our house, his house more specifically, and came out of the car, took a picture, and then went back into the van and drove off. Simple as that. That was it. My brother isn't involved in this any more than Mr. Tugglesworth's ex. But it was okay for all these people to drag my brother into this, even though all my brother's ever done was cheer on my content. And when I begged and pleaded for him to try to join me on a stream or two, he did it begrudgingly. And his payback for that was all of this. Now, yeah, I bitched and I cried a little bit, but the hypocrisy literally could kill a horse. The hypocrisy of it all, they're putting the recovery at risk. Did anybody ever once ask Dave all the hate and abuse that I was getting from a YouTuber's fan base? Did anybody ever once ask me, "Hey, is that putting Dave's recovery at risk?" Yeah, Dave may have some years of sobriety under his belt, but does that put it at risk? Or does Dave's not a human? Dave doesn't get the same uh rights, the same people don't care the same people aren't supposed to care about me or my family the same way. So all I have to say, I hear you, John. Um, and I'm not fat shaming anybody. That was how it was described to me. My brother said, a rather rotund lady came by my house, came out of the van, took a picture, and went, he said, waddled back in the van and drove off. And that was it. It got to the point where my brother had cameras in the backyard of the house, and he has since had to put cameras all around his house because of all this nonsense. But does anybody care about the defendants in this case? Not at all. Not at all. And like I said, I have been completely advised against talking about anything because it just gets turned into drama. And I could care less about being involved in the drama. I don't seek it out. I don't look for it. I don't care what these people say about me. I've said it several times. I'm going to be handling this in court just as all the defendants are. I'm not playing games. I'm not doing anything. But I just had to comment on the fact that Tuggle's being face doxxed is crazy. When I said that Megan Fox doxed me out in the open, I was told, your information is out in the public. Blah, 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 blah. Your information's out in the public already. She didn't dox nothing. Blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, Tugglesworth's picture was out in the open. All you had to do is look for it, right? So how is that a dox? I don't get it. What does it say here? Thule says, does anyone believe Germ would have been nicer in his description? His description of what? Christine Onion says, I'm looking great. Thank you. And I have to talk about that. I'm sorry. I don't want people to get burnt out on my journey with all of this, my new lifestyle. But I did weigh in today, and I am officially 375 pounds. We're not going to count the 2 ounces. 375.2 is what I officially was. Which means as of today, I am down officially 35 pounds since starting on December 26th. Does anyone believe Germ would have been? No, I don't think he would have been nicer, Lisa. I really don't. And that's just how, how it appears. And now, is all this recorded on camera? Absolutely. It's all put in a file. Everything that has been happening, just because I'm not commenting on it publicly and making content out of it and trying to monetize it and trying to do all that, doesn't mean it's not being recorded and kept in a record. Everything is being filed accordingly and being kept for records. You never know when something like that comes important. And what even more is more important is when you talk to the neighbors and say, hey, were you, because we thought it might have been like an insurance adjuster for the landlord or something like that. So my brother called his landlord and said, hey, were you doing anything? Nothing. So it was just out. It was odd. And knowing that all the information from this case is being put all over the internet and all this stuff, it's very odd behavior. And it puts my safety at risk. So it's to the point where I have to be very sporadic when I visit my brother. As of right now, my studio is still set up. I'm at my brother's house right now. This is where my studio is still at because it's a big setup and I have nowhere to move it to yet. So I have to get time to access my studio, which is why my streams have been sporadic. All of this has put a hampering on my business, on everything I do for a living. It has put a hampering on my brother's lifestyle. All this because a YouTuber wanted to play games. I don't feel safe here. I don't feel safe coming and going. I don't. Especially having people say, "Oh, we're watching you," and having a YouTuber having said the things he said that people who live downstairs from my brother are reporting to him. That's stalking. That is legitimate stalking. And now I'm getting these odd, very, very odd messages, comments on my YouTube channel, emails. I'm getting very odd, threatening messages that sound very weird. That's all I'm gonna say. And yeah, nah. Things are very weird, and it's because it's been quiet lately, I feel. I feel like things have been quiet. I haven't been taking the bait, so to speak. Let me put my balls away, guys. Let me stash my balls away. um I feel like things have been silent lately, so people are digging for content, or they're trying to do something rather. And as Lisa just said in the chat, the silliest things could end up being relevant, and that couldn't be more true. Um, just look at somebody like Richard Luthman, right? Richard Luthman, you may have said, "Oh, his silly emails that he was sending shock it all the time in January, February, March, yada yada yada." Um, or whatever he was sending. January. He was like December, January. It was a while ago. He was sending a bunch of emails that he listed in his motion. And all those silly emails, they now have created a record. And that record shows that the lawyer had been put on notice several times. Several times. And still acted as if it wasn't the case. So little things like that can become very relevant, especially in cases of people asking for fees for service. You know, I heard that there's going to be some litigation about the Luthman serving, and people wanting fees or something for the cost of serving Luthman, supposedly, even though there's still jurisdictional issues. There's still so many issues with that, and apparently people want fees. And little things like a judge already saying in this case that service or no, how did they say it in the case, that knowing about a case is not equal to service. And this judge has said it several times. Yeah, and exactly, Lisa said the judge was CC'd on all of those emails. He was. Those silly little emails that everybody made fun of. But what those silly little emails did is they created a record. And I find it fascinating that that all these little things are starting to add up. Just like what the judge said, that knowledge of a lawsuit does not constitute service. And that is coming back more and more and more. We're going to keep seeing that more and more as people start contesting their fees. That people want, this plaintiff wants fees for publication, in my case, and for other stuff. And the lawyer often cites in his motions, well, we emailed them, so they had notice. How many times did that judge say that just knowing about it doesn't count as service? So I'm interested on all that. So I think that everybody's keeping their own records, and when the time comes, it's gonna avalanche. Which reminds me, guys, I want to show you a video. I was gonna play some World of Warcraft. I got a dentist appointment this morning. That's why I'm at my brother's house. I got a dentist. I'm going for a cleaning, and I've been having I think I have an abscess, I think, in my back here, and it was so bad for the past like 4 days. Today's the first day it's actually okay. But so I was gonna play some World of Warcraft with you guys. So we might get to that, we might not. But I had just learned about another case that has been going on in YouTube world. And listen to this, guys. I'm gonna pull it up here and tell me if this does not sound familiar. Let me see if I can.
Can a wealthy individual use the court system to silence critics?
Let me see if I can pull this up, guys. 1 second. See, I had it all queued up for you guys. I was going to play some World of Warcraft, but we're going to switch that to this YouTube video I want you guys to watch. And the title of this video is I Just Won a Massive Lawsuit Against an Evil Villain. And this is put out by Spencer Cornelia. And this has been, listen to how long this man has been involved in a lawsuit. And tell me if this lawsuit does not sound familiar, guys. I'm going to be pausing and adding commentary on all of this. But tell me if this doesn't sound familiar. Let me just make sure. This seems a little... The image seems a little off, but I guess... Oh, no, that's how it's supposed to be. All right, guys, let's go to this video right now. Tell me if this sounds familiar.
Unfortunately, yes, and I hope my story and what you'll watch in this video highlights how wealthy fraudsters can use Lawfare to silence critics. In June 2021, I was sued by Derek Moneyberg, who happens to be very wealthy. I've made numerous videos in a series discussing him and my case. On September...
Does anybody in chat know about this case? Because this case sounds very similar to the case that I am now involved in.
29, 2023, we won the lawsuit in district court. In legal terms, we were granted the motion for summary judgment. Derek Moneyberg didn't like...
How many times has Legally Leslie mentioned summary judgment? I find a lot of this fascinating. I find cases that are similar, and I piecemeal bits from other cases. Now, this case took place in the 9th district. My case that I'm involved in is in the 11th district. However, they are both federal cases. So that is what's similar, but wait till this gets going and you're going to be like, "Oh my gosh. This has been tried so many times before. I don't understand how anything is different." But keep listening, guys.
The outcome, so he appealed the ruling in October 2023. We finally had our oral argument day in appellate court on December 9th, 2025. That's right, it was over 2 years just in appellate court. That is nearly 5 years for the entirety of the case.
So this defendant has been in court for 5 years due to a plaintiff who had a shit ton of money and just wanted to play games, apparently.
We did receive the order recently ending the case. The appellate court ruled in our favor, dismissing the claims of defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and business disparagement, and affirmed the dismissal of the Lanham Act claims. That means it was a complete...
Lanham Act claims, you say? That sounds familiar. Lanham Act? I know, I've heard about the Lanham Act. Keep listening, guys. I mean, I know that guy's way thinner than me, but I feel like I'm holding up a mirror somewhat. Except for this guy's 5 years ahead of me.
Victory on the merits of the case in both courts. That's the good news, but now let's discuss this within the context of YouTube. Whether it was iDubbbz in his Content Cop series, H3H3 making fun of cringe content, CoffeeZilla exposing another fraudster, or clips from any number of commentary channels. YouTube is great when creators can call out other creators without fear of being financially ruined if that other person didn't like what they had to say.
Can we just run that back? Let's listen to that one more time.
Call out other creators without any number of commentary channels. YouTube is great when creators can call out other creators without fear of being financially ruined if that other person didn't like what they had to say.
Can we hear that one more time?
Until creator clips from any number of commentary channels. YouTube is great when creators can call out other creators without fear of being financially ruined if that other person didn't like what they had to say.
I mean, exactly. That's when YouTube is the greatest. And we'll keep going because it seems like the judge agreed with that.
till you run into someone who is enough of a
And Lisa, I don't know if he copied this case or not, but it's almost, just keep listening. It's almost identical in so many facets.
villain to file a lawsuit. This lawsuit was filed in federal court, specifically the U.S. District Court for the District of Nevada. After winning in that court, the case was appealed in the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. That was a mouthful. My appellate ruling is binding precedent on every federal district court within the Ninth Circuit. I include the other states on screen that could apply my...
It just sucks it wasn't the 11th district. Otherwise, I'm sure a lot of us could really use this. But it's still 9th district. It's still federal court. You can still bring it up. I mean, keep listening, guys.
victory. The most notable states are California, Nevada, and Arizona for content creators. In lawsuits, attorneys use the rulings in other cases as precedent for how the judges have ruled before. This ruling is binding law in the Ninth Circuit and persuasive nationwide, which means it could directly affect how lawsuits against creators in the future.
You heard that? Persuasive nationwide, so we can bring it up. And as a content creator, this is very relevant. Keep listening.
Are evaluated. Now let's discuss how wealthy people can weaponize the legal system to their advantage. This was a SLAPP suit brought by a multimillionaire who got that way by scamming people out of their money, as defendants reported on. To keep his scam afloat, he sought to stifle anyone who tries to criticize him with what is colloquially referred to as lawfare, or a SLAPP suit. To Buchkovsky, a few $100,000 thrown at an underfunded defendant is just the cost of keeping the scam going. More on what a SLAPP suit is in just a minute, but in case you aren't aware, here in America, a wealthy person can sue an underfunded defendant and essentially ruin their life for many years, and in some cases, bankrupt them.
I mean, come on, guys. Does that sound like anybody you know? Or anybody you've watched on YouTube? Because I can think of several creators that fits like a glove. Fits like a Trojan condom. Sorry.
In case you haven't seen my videos discussing the case, the videos that resulted in the lawsuit are of me interviewing John, who is a YouTuber in the dating coach space. This was a much different time in my YouTube career back.
So all Spencer did is he did an interview. Kind of like how some defendants, all they did was go on somebody's podcasts or interview a person like Bruce Matskin or somebody that another YouTuber didn't like. Sound familiar?
In 2020, all I did was interview John and ask him questions. I did not make any false statements of facts, did not make any accusations, and I certainly didn't make any opinions that would be considered defamatory. Yet, I was the one who was sued. In addition to a defamation claim, Moneyberg included the Lanham Act.
Lanham Act? Oh, he's talking serious business, guys. That's some serious business. Lanham Act. Federal. Listen to what he has to say about this.
Claim in the complaint strategically. One aspect of the Lanham Act is basically false advertising. Essentially, a competitor said a false statement of fact about a business's product or service.
Competitor. I just want to point something out here. All right, I'm just going to keep it 100 with you guys. In the year 2025, my channel sold a grand total of under 14 pieces of merchandise. Grand total. 14, just under, I believe it was. A whole year. I think I made less than $50 in a whole year off merchandise. But I'm a competitor of this YouTuber. How much do you think he made in 2025 off of his merchandise? But we're competitors? Now that just doesn't fit. That's like somebody with a small mushroom trying to get into a magnum, if we're going to stick with the condom analogies.
Service. This was a meritless claim, but it's a federal claim. So instead of the case being entirely in the state of Nevada's court, it went to federal court. The case is dragged on for over 54 months. Meanwhile, had it been properly brought in state court without its absurd Lanham Act claim, there would have been limited, if any, discovery and a quick and far less expensive resolution. Mr. Moneyberg properly calculated that he had more money, so federal court was where he held an advantage in a war of attrition.
I mean, come on, guys. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, please, right now. If I am wrong, say, Dave, you're blowing smoke up my butt. Because I don't think I am. I think this sounds so similar to me. It sounds almost like right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot.
Prove that Buchkowski materially misrepresented his state of residence. He could have simply claimed diversity jurisdiction since he is provably an Illinois resident. However, he sought to hide his true residency for some reason, presumably as a state tax evasion strategy. So a federal question was the...
Sorry, but John Cook just said, that's too bad because so many people love your Tata shirt. I can't tell you how many people tell me they love it. That was a limited drop, and I did that strictly for one of my former mods. I'm sure you guys can know who that person was. I did that strictly for her because she asked me to. And when we stopped talking to each other, I don't believe it's on my store anymore. It was just a limited drop. And I think that shirt sold 3 or 4 pieces, and one of them was to you, John. But yeah, thank you for saying that. But yeah, that was a limited piece that I did for one of my mods. It did bark.
Only way to avoid litigating his state law claims in state court while maintaining his subterfuge. This is just one of the many unethical and, in my opinion, illegal tactics used by Moneyberg and his counsel throughout this process. But anyway, federal court is a lot more costly and takes a lot more time than just state court.
Did you guys catch that? Let me just play that back one more time because it's very true.
Many unethical and, in my opinion, illegal tactics used by Moneyberg and his counsel throughout this process. But anyway, federal court is a lot more costly and takes a lot more time than just state court.
A lot more costly, takes a lot more time. And what was that direct quote? Can anybody in the chat type the direct quote from this YouTuber about what his purpose for litigation was? Please, just write it in chat. Because it's slipping my mind it's just slipping my mind. I can't remember what he said he sues people for. Can you guys remind me? Oh, Christy Nunya just said that they love their Milltown's Best hoodie. I love mine as well. I wish they'd sell more. But hey, you know, I'm such a big competitor to this YouTuber with hundreds of thousands of viewers. Gag me with a spoon.
There's also tactics employed to increase the billable hours. This image of me on the screen is from October 2022 when we went to court. His counsel was being incredibly difficult, just scheduling.
Oh, there they go. Yep, Lisa, I believe that's it. That does ring a bell. And Mo, yep, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Let's just, for those who can't see the chat. Yeah, I think those are all right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Christy Nunya says, gee, I wonder why the YouTuber chose federal court. Yeah, I think that's what it is, in my opinion. Sounds like this case here sounds like a mirror, like I'm holding a mirror up. John says, I can't remember, but I think it has something to do with the bank. Yeah, pretty much. Let's go back to this video, though, guys, because we're just getting rolling here about the similarities here. And then wait till you see what the judge said in summary judgment, mind you.
Depositions. So we had to go to court and get a judge to help us schedule a deposition date. It was like hurting adult children. This incident cost me $5,000 alone. Throughout a 5-year case, when you're dealing with Moneyberg and his counsel and their intent is to just ruin your life, there's so many tactics that you can employ that just keep the billable hours running. When I recoup my money from this situation, I know exactly what I'll be doing. I will be investing on the platform of today's sponsor, Webull. Easily invest in stocks and ETFs with Webull. You can start small with fractional shares.
I'm sorry, but Webull is not paying for time on Milltown's Best, so I'm gonna skip the ad, guys. we don't like to give out the free advertising here on Milltown's Best.
And YouTube content creators. SLAPP, strategic litigation against public participation.
Now, this is what MLS has done in the courts. I believe that David from Making Law Simple had filed a SLAPP suit. I've also, in my response to this lawsuit, I had brought up that this is a SLAPP suit. And I made several key paragraphs of my motion about how I view this litigation as SLAPP.
Those of us reporting on fraudsters or unethical behavior by scammers or celebrities or influencers are vulnerable to a wealthy litigant utilizing the legal system to try and silence criticism. Moneyberg's case against me is the textbook definition of a SLAPP lawsuit, a wealthy guy upset that someone reported on his unethical behavior or scams. Lawfare is essentially using the extreme cost of litigation to shut up or silence critics.
And it works. Oh, it works like a charm. In most cases, I mean, it works really, really, really well. And if that doesn't work, the sicking your fans, sicking your viewers, sicking your simps, sicking all of your clout on these people, that's the second best thing you can do, if not the first best. Because once you have people riding your Johnson left and right, yeah, they'll make you, if not want to unalive, self-delete, they'll make you want to just go bury yourself in a hole and never show your face again. Just disappear, as some other defendants have been told. Just vanish, just disappear. The harassment sure does make you want to. And I'm speaking from the heart on that. Real time spent in hospitals because of the harassment. And that's all documented. It's all documented.
Anti-SLAPP special motion to dismiss is our best defense against those who engage in lawfare. The most important elements of the anti-SLAPP are that defendants recoup their full attorney's fees and a $10,000 reward on top. That's supposed to be the deterrent for lawfare. The problem is that it isn't enough of a deterrent for someone wealthy enough like Moneyberg, who has enough animosity.
I agree. For some people that have so much money, like I said, it works. It's a great deterrent, filing lawsuit. It works great in most cases. And if all you're going to have to do is pay 10 grand for a deterrent so you don't do it again. I think the only thing that actually works, in my opinion, is getting labeled a vexatious litigant. Because once you are labeled a vexatious litigant, then you have to have all of your lawsuits pre-approved before they are actually filed. So I think that is the true deterrent, in my opinion. A $10,000 fee to a millionaire, it's really nothing, I guess.
To not worry about what could be $1 million in legal fees. The anti-SLAPP is typically filed at the beginning of the case, which stays discovery, which means we'll put it off until the judge rules on the anti-SLAPP. But there's ways around that, like Moneyberg filing a meritless claim, which we thought our best strategy was to go through discovery, because if you get the anti-SLAPP denied at the beginning, you aren't able to use it at the end. The Institute for Free Speech website has a cool graphic for which states have the anti-SLAPP motion. Currently, there are 39 states and the District of Columbia with the anti-SLAPP motion available to defendants. They even provide a grade for each state. But what matters most at the end of the day is what the judge decides. The judge didn't grant my anti-SLAPP in what can only be considered a confusing ruling and just a complete...
This is where things get crazy. The court can be a gamble at times. You never know what the judge is thinking or how they're reading the documents. They may completely misread a document, which they did in this case here, as you will come to find out. And I feel so bad that this happened, but thank God it was all rectified in the end. But of course, that takes more time, more money. And, it is what it is. But listen to how the judge did this. Completely agreed with Spencer here, but then did a 180. Listen.
Mistake. In the order filed with the court back in September 2023,
Morning, Helen.
In order to win the anti-SLAPP, you need to prove that the good faith communication must be either truthful or made without knowledge of its falsehood, and it must have a direct connection with an issue of public interest. Basically, you're talking about someone that is of public interest, a public figure, and you need to prove that you had no knowledge of falsity of any of the statements or you didn't act with reckless disregard for the truth. Keep in mind that I never made any statements at all, no accusations, and no wild opinions that could be considered defamatory. I simply interviewed a credible source who had first-hand experience dealing with Moneyberg. Taking plaintiffs at their word in their complaint, the court finds that they are public figures. This is important because this satisfies the communication being of public interest or about someone who would be considered a public figure. Here, all of the allegedly defamatory statements were uttered by Mulvihill, not...
See, now in a case that's similar to this, we have no issues with that because the plaintiff is self-admitted a public figure.
Cornelia was simply interviewing Mulvihill. Thus, plaintiff's claim is more appropriately directed at Mulvihill. Regardless of this fact, the evidence in the record shows that Cornelia did...
Again, good morning, Helen, and good morning. Who is that, Paco? Good morning, Paco. And good morning, Shannon.
Did not act with reckless disregard in conducting his interview with Mulvihill. As described, Cornelia published his videos based on reasonable information he received from reliable sources. Even the court agrees. That's their wording. They're basically implying that the lawsuit should have been filed against the guy interviewed and not me. Even if Cornelia were mistaken, his conduct is...
That reminds me of a YouTuber who tried to sue a district attorney, and the court said, "Hey, your problem isn't with the district attorney, it's with the sheriff's office." Sounds familiar. All this sounds so familiar to me. Maybe that's just how my brain works, that I take bits and pieces from things and I find out how it connects into my life and my world. But when you do that, you find a lot of similarities.
Not remotely close to constituting reckless disregard. Thus, defendants did not act with actual malice. In their order, in their own words, the court literally asserts both prongs of the anti-SLAPP. They're saying, you need both of these things, and we're asserting you did both of these things. While defendants do not satisfy each individual criterion under Nevada's anti-SLAPP statute, the court denies defendants' special motion to dismiss. They literally contradicted themselves in the same ruling. In detail, they described how I met both prongs of the anti-SLAPP, and then in the paragraph with their ruling, they then claim I didn't. I bring this up because even if you have the strongest argument and all the letter of the law on your side, the judge can just turn their brain off and rule against you. That is the vulnerability of going to court, and the reason why wealthy people can sue, because there's a non-0% chance that the judge just mistakenly rules. Moneyberg appealed because he didn't like that we won. And it gets...
Sounds like another person that I am associated with that loves to appeal everything and anything.
It's worse. Here's the part that was even more frustrating. Had the district court granted the anti-SLAPP, Moneyberg, when he wanted to appeal, he would have had to post the judgment amount in a what's called a supersedious bond, basically a third-party escrow company. So when the appeals process is over, I just collect from the bond. I don't have to chase Moneyberg at all.
Now, I've heard Lisa say that if things don't go properly with the dismissals or whatever, she's going to ask the court for a bond. And I know several others that feel the same way. And I believe that is what he had planned here with the bond. And I believe that is your right to ask for a bond, if I'm not mistaken.
Motion for fees at the district court level, we calculated around $330,000 in total should be awarded to me. I've now had to spend a significant amount of more money at the appellate court with no guarantee of recouping. Had the district court just granted the anti-SLAPP like they should, I would be recouping $330,000 from that supersedious bond in just a couple weeks, and then the money from the appellate court would come just a couple months after. The appeals process is just another way for a wealthy litigant to delay the outcome, put more financial strain on an underfunded defendant like me, and possibly get a...
That's very key when you say underfunded defendant. Keep that in mind throughout all of this whole nonsense that's going to be going on this year. Keep reminding yourself, underfunded defendants.
Hail Mary attempt at another judge that would make a mistake and rule in their favor. Here's the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals located in San Francisco, California. The importance of the appellate court is to apply the law correctly and affirm or deny the district court's ruling. We'll get to how this affects the anti-SLAPP in just a minute. Here's the docket calendar for recent entries. On December 30th, we received the ruling from the appellate court. I shared the image earlier that they affirmed the district court's ruling, meaning they agreed. Well, here's the following paragraph. There's no need to address their special motion to dismiss. That is the anti-SLAPP. Accordingly, we dismiss that appeal as moot. I was incredibly frustrated when I first read that because the last few years I've had to deal with every day waking up knowing that the district court incorrectly ruled on the anti-SLAPP, how much better my life would be if they properly ruled on that. And now I'm finding out that the appellate court, the second court, they're not even going to rule on it. They're just going to dismiss it as moot. On January 8th, we filed a petition for rehearing for the appellate judges to rule on the anti-SLAPP. If it ceases to exist in the District of Nevada because winning a summary judgment renders it moot, then wealthy SLAPP defendants can stand there, but poor and middle-class people will have no access to justice at all. That consequence of this error cannot be ignored by this court.
Very interesting. I agree with what Christy Nunez said. You only get justice if you can pay for it here in the United States. It seems like that, but I feel like some of these federal judges don't stand for that. I think when you start adding up how many, especially in speaking in a case that I'm involved in, how many underfunded defendants are involved, things just seem very disproportionate. And then when you start getting to the speech-based claims of it all, things really start shifting in a very odd way. And I hope the judge sees it. That's all I can say is I hope the judge sees it.
My lawyer is the best when it comes to First Amendment and anti-SLAPP cases. Some of his motions are pretty funny, and I have good news. The following day, on January 9th, an order was filed directing Moneyberg to file a response to our petition for a rehearing. This indicates that the panel of judges in the appellate court have strong belief that they should rule on the anti-SLAPP, and in the motion that my attorney filed, there's reason to believe that we should be granted the anti-SLAPP. They're essentially telling Moneyberg in their order to file a response that, hey man, we're going to give you one last chance to try and convince us why we shouldn't rule on the anti-SLAPP. They even filed a petition for a rehearing as well because they once again didn't like the outcome. They're trying to argue that Moneyberg wasn't a public figure. He's paid for an Instagram account with millions of followers. He's paid for numerous press releases so he can appear like a big deal in the news, one of them being Playboy. And he's posted content on social media for years. He is absolutely a limited purpose public figure.
Now, I've done streams in the past about public figures, limited purpose public figures. And yeah, of course, he was found to be a public figure.
And the courts have ruled that twice. Notice that the courts haven't responded to his request. This is a positive sign that they don't intend on hearing his argument. These three judges are going to rule on the anti-SLAPP very soon. All they have to do is rule according to the letter of the law. Plaintiffs are limited purpose public figures. Plaintiffs have not made the requisite clear and convincing showing that the Cornelia defendants had actual knowledge that their comments were false or acted with reckless disregard as to their falsity. Similarly, plaintiffs have not made the requisite showing that the Cornelia defendants acted with intent to harm plaintiffs' pecuniary interests. In their own words, they have asserted both prongs of the anti-SLAPP. This is a very simple if-then logic sequence. If both prongs of the anti-SLAPP have been met, then you have to grant it. In layman's terms, they have agreed that both elements of the anti-SLAPP have been met, which means I should recoup attorney's fees plus a $10,000 reward. I just need these three judges to make the objectively correct ruling and grant the anti-SLAPP. To date, I have accumulated $435,000 in total costs associated with this.
5 years too, by the way. I know he's only a one defendant compared to this YouTuber who said he's past that and he's only in the service stage. And this guy's been going for 5 years and he racked in 435 in a whole 5-year period. Some of these numbers seem a little kumsa. Just saying. And I don't think it's this man's
lawsuit and 5 years of my life. All I need is those panel of judges to correctly rule on the anti-SLAPP, and I win. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported me throughout this process. A few years ago when I was down bad, absolute back against the wall, I started a GoFundMe, was able to raise money, and I can't tell you how much that saved me and helped me.
I bet.
Seriously, major thank you to everyone who helped me out. You have my word that I will pay it forward once I win this anti-SLAPP.
You know, and it's funny to me because we hear about how every one of these defendants, they're grifters, money hungry scammers, and all this crazy stuff. Yet no defendants have started any kind of GoFundMes for legal defenses or anything. But a plaintiff has, or the plaintiff's fan started one or something like that. But in every video, they're accepting cash and check donations directly to a lawyer. But the defendants who are being told, everybody's telling that we're the grifters, money hungry. All we care about is, money. None of us have started a GoFundMe. Instead, we're educating ourselves and we're trying to do the best we can with the tools we have. I mean, I'm speaking for myself here, but from what I've noticed, none of us have started any kind of GoFundMes for legal. It's crazy. But that guy's case, if you guys, again, don't know, his channel is... Let me go back to it just so we can take one more look, guys. His channel is Spencer Cornelia. And he's got 565,000 subscribers. And he's been covering his case throughout all 5 years. So you can watch all of it there, guys. You can check out everything. I have a few more minutes, guys. I was going to play some Warcraft with you guys, but we'll do that on another stream. And I am going to be taking the stream and making it members only, just so you guys know. Because I'm talking about this stuff, and I don't need it to be turned into fodder. So again, guys, if you're not a Milltown's bestie, I can actually, give me a second. I think I can give out some memberships. Let me do some gifting for you guys. Seeing as how I appreciate all the Milltown's besties, and If you guys want to watch this later, you're more than welcome. We'll do that. Thank you for doing that. And I think I can send out 5 more.
Let's go.
And then for those of you guys who don't get a membership, join, become a Milltown's Bestie.
Let's go.
$4.99 a month, and you get access to our exclusive closed Discord. You can participate in
Let's go.
Supapedia recordings. We're doing live recordings. You know, you can have input on thumbnail design.
Let's go.
Any kind of scripting or formatting of videos that we do in the future. It's just a great little community, and
Let's
you get
go.
awesome new emojis, and I do a lot of content for the members, guys. I've been picking it up. I really have been. And I'm going to gift 5 more memberships if it'll let me. Let me see if it lets me. Yep, it'll let me do 5 more. So 10 new gifted memberships to the Milltown's Besties. Look at all those new besties.
Let's go.
I have a few minutes if you guys got any questions for me
Let's go.
or anything. Now's the time. Otherwise, we'll close out the stream here. I just wanted to stop in, check in.
Let's go.
Again, guys, I did weigh in today. 375 pounds as we close out week number 6.
Let's go.
And that's 35 pounds down. I started out at 410.5 pounds. And I just could not believe when I saw 375 on that scale. Slow and steady wins the race. Strat Love has been a great help. All of you guys have been a great help. I'm so happy and proud. And you guys want to hear something amazing? My blood pressure is so much better since I cut out the carbs, since I did, I'm cutting all that nonsense out of my life, all the extra sugar and all that stuff. My blood sugar and everything has been better, but my blood pressure, it's so much better. My doctor's thinking about maybe taking me off the meds if I keep this up. So one can hope. One can hope. Again, guys, I'm so happy with everything. The channel's doing amazing. We're in that transition phase. I hope you guys don't mind this going members only, but this was for the fam. This was for all you guys, just so I could update you guys on a few things. And who's that? Miss Preston in the chat says, this is just the most sickening, disgusting thing that I think I have ever gone through in my life. I'm so sorry for anyone else who has been through this. It's horrifying and so unfair. That's from Michelle Preston. And I agree. I've only had a fraction of the treatment she's endured. And it's ridiculous. It's so wrong. And when it comes out that it's not only been done to Miss Preston, but done to John and multiple defendants on a daily basis, the good guys aren't going to look like the good guys, in my opinion. Good morning to you, Gabe. I hope you have an awesome day. It's a beautiful day, especially here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I got a dentist appointment. I'm excited, guys. Through my addiction and everything, I haven't really took good care of my teeth. I don't hide it. I don't hide my face like that umbrella guy or anybody else. I'm here, flaws and all. But as I'm working on everything, I'm going in for a full checkup with my teeth today. I'm going in for a cleaning today. And I'm excited, because I do drink a lot of coffee and I do smoke cigarettes. So my teeth take a beating. So I'm excited to actually go to the dentist. And I'm just happy, guys. I'm losing weight. I'm feeling fine. The double chin is going away. I'm feeling sexy, guys. I'm feeling sexy. I just play with my balls. I play with my balls on YouTube live stream. Sorry, if you guys don't know what that's about, watch earlier on in the stream. I'm not perverted. I'm playing with my Benoit balls that I keep in a box. They're don't I keep my balls in a nice box, guys? Do you guys keep your balls in a fancy box? Guys, I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Check out the channel we talked about today. Next time, I will be doing World of Warcraft, and we'll start a level 1 character, guys. And we will read the chats, or we'll read the quests, and we will level our character up, and he will become strong, or she, depending on what you guys want. We might do a female character. Could be fun. Dave, you and your balls. Balls belong in a box. I agree, guys. Guys, I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks for being here. It's been a fun morning. Always fun with you guys. Bye.
Supa Dave